I've had my PS5 Pro now for a year. In fact, it's more than that. I've had it for 13 months because I got it on launch date. And I'm going to tell you everything good and bad about it in this video, because it's not all good and it's not all bad. But I think I'm in a really good position here because I can give you a completely unbiased opinion, because first of all, I bought it with my own money. And secondly, I still own base PS5. So I've had the full experience of using both of them over the year. And I can tell you if the differences are worth it, and the things that are good, and like I say, the things that are bad. That's a base PS5 on that arcade-based unit behind me. And this is my PS5 Pro on this OLED TV here, which is also rigged up to a race rig just over there. And I've got another base PS5 downstairs on my arcade-based race rig. So like I say, absolutely zero need for bias. If my PS5 bases are still really, really good, and they make the PS5 Pro differences just not worth it, I can tell you that because I'm still happy because I've still got two of them. On the other hand, if the PS5 Pro is really good and it's blown away my base PS5s, that maybe explains why they're both on different systems. So let's get into it about why the PS5 Pro is good and some of the things why it's bad. Now, really, really important is how you play games and what games you play. Now let's get the real obvious thing out of the way. Right, so there's over 200 games on the PS5 Pro enhanced games list right now. So when you scroll down these, if there's nothing there you particularly play, you're already in the realms of why you even bothering to think about this, because other little things like the bigger hard drive, it's got a 2 terabyte hard drive, which is a massive game changer compared to the base PS5, but you can add that in separately to a standard PS5. There's no need to buy a Pro to do that. Just a moderate amount of money in comparison to buying a Pro. If you don't play any of these Pro enhanced games, forget it. It's not worth buying a Pro. You may as well just stick with a base PS5 and upgrade the memory if you need the memory. But having said that, even if you don't have any PS5 Pro enhanced games you're interested in, if you have a large PS4 collection, you can still benefit from the game boost on PS5 Pro. Basically, any PS4 game that is not PS4 Pro enhanced and has an internal fixed resolution of 1080p or less will look better on the PS5 Pro thanks to that game boost. It really is a great feature. I'm actually going to hook up my PS5 Pro in a really fancy way soon. I'm going to make a video of this and hook it up to my arcade cab as well to show how we can actually change one console effectively into 3 different experiences. A race rig, sit down, standard games, and stand up arcade for fighting games, shoot 'em ups and things like that. It's going to be a cool video. Sometimes the graphical differences are there, but you do have to look for them a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. On some of the Pro Enhanced games, if you had them side by side, you may notice it. But walk out of the room in a blind test, turn one or the other off, and put the TV in the same place as just one TV, and come in and tell you which one you were looking at. On some games, you'd be hard pushed to tell the difference. But on other ones, the differences are very, very noticeable. Like in F1, for example, it's extremely noticeable. It's extremely noticeable as well in Gran Turismo 7. The ray traced reflections off the bonnets and the cars, and when you go past them and things like that, is really, really noticeable. And some people say, yeah, but when you're playing, you don't actually notice that. But you do. When you first start playing these games, you look for these things because you're trying to justify the PS5 Pro. I did it. When you first get it, you're like getting close to the cars, you're looking for those reflections, you go, oh yeah, that's cool. But then you think, but when I'm playing normally, do I actually notice that? But I'll tell you what, when I go back and I play on my base PS5, on my race rig downstairs, and I play Gran Turismo 7, you do notice it. All of a sudden, it just looks flat. It doesn't look quite as clean. You notice frame drops just slightly more than normal. But that is based on obviously that game, and the PSSR, ray traced reflections, things like that, like 4K 60, it does vary upon game to game. So you've got to really look at what games are in this list and see which ones you play. And if you don't play any of them, then the PS5 Pro probably isn't for you. If on the other hand, for example, you play a lot of these games, which I do, and I also play racing games close up to the TV like I do, and I've got a huge amount of games as well, so I can really benefit from that 2 terabytes of storage, then for me it's a win-win situation all round because I'm benefiting from all those things at once. So for me, the PS5 Pro is completely and utterly and always worth it. Thing is as well, the PS6 is happening. And this is another really important thing as well. The longer you leave it, the less viable a PS5 Pro becomes. I got this on launch day, okay? So I've had it just over a year already, which is really good. I've absolutely loved it for that year. But the PS6 is due at the end of 2027, probably, maybe early 2028. And that's the thing. It's like, would I buy one now? Because we're now at the point where we're just a couple of ways from the next generation. This was just like a stopgap for people that wanted the best of the current generation. It is by no means essential, not saying that, but it does give you the best of the current generation. It gives you those ray traced effects in the games that support it. It gives you 4K 60 in far more games than it does on the base PS5, and it's just a more solid experience. The loading's faster and you get that bigger SSD at the same time. So all good for people that want those things. But other than that, you'll be perfectly happy with your base PS5. I mean, would I be unhappy if I didn't have my PS5 Pro? Wouldn't say unhappy. I'd be a bit put out because I've got used to it. I've got used to those faster loading times. I've got used to those sharper, more solid looking graphics. I've got used to that 4K 60. I've got used to that PSSR magic doing its trick, which has just got better and better as the months have gone on. So yeah, I would be a bit put out if I didn't have it now, and I'd have to just wait for the PS6 and just meander on by with my still very, very good and very capable PS5. But what are the bad things about the PS5 Pro? Well, there's just a couple that still bug me a little bit today. And the main one, and it sounds really daft, but this is the Pro console, and I don't think this should have happened, is the missing USB type A port from the front. You've now got two USB-Cs. You've got a high-speed one and a standard one, and you've got two USB type A's on the back. And this is unforgivable on a console that costs that much. Crikey, my ancient Xbox 360s have got about 6 USBs on them, and you've got 2 on a device like this. Yes, I know technically the USB Type-Cs count as USB ports as well, but the fact is, there's things like the camera, an extended drive. I've got a 4 terabyte standard hard drive on this as well, and that's my ports used up all at once. That's it, they're gone. And you think about something like a PSVR 2 and a charge cable, and you're completely out of ports. It's like, it's crazy. So you want to use something like a mic or something like that, and you've got to start unplugging stuff already. It's a bit crazy. I think they should definitely add a USB type A port on the front as well. It just made a lot more sense to me. Apart from that, other good things about it is I love how cool it runs. Like my base PS5s run like a heater. They are super quiet. Got to give them that. You can't really hear them at all. They're super quiet. But crikey, do they kick out some heat. You feel the back of these things, and they really kick out some heat, which is actually quite useful in my downstairs one in the converted garage into my mini mega arcade, because it actually warms that room up in like a couple of hours once you've actually been in there and it was a bit chilly, for example. So it's good in that way, but the PS5 Pro does run a heck of a lot cooler. A lot cooler. Yes, you can hear it. First thing I was surprised about with this when I first got it was the fact that I could hear the fan noise. And this threw me a little bit. I wondered if there was some faulty PS5 Pros out there, because I thought the Pro version, surely you shouldn't be able to hear it compared to the base PS5, but you could. It's not that audible, but you can actually hear it if you're, like, say, a couple of meters away. But the benefit to that is the fan is obviously running a little bit faster, which keeps the components cooler, which means the console isn't running as hot, and the console in the long run should last longer, because the thing that kills off electronics a lot of the time is heat. They heat up to a degree and they cool down again. It's that constant cycle of that heating up and cooling down, which eventually kills them off. So if they stay cooler in the long run, like with the PS5 Pro, then in theory the console should last longer as well. So all round, there are definitely a lot of things to consider about buying a PS5 Pro if you were going to think about buying one still today. For example, the PS6 launch, like I said earlier, a couple of years away still, expected maybe the end of 2027, early 2028. But if you weren't considering buying a PS6 straight away, like you're thinking about, say, waiting a year first, then the PS5 Pro may still be a good purchase, because combine that year wait you can maybe think about doing to the 2 years that the PS6 is away still, that's another 3 years. 3 years, if you play it a lot every day for several hours, it's probably still decent value, because you can get 3 years of basically those better graphics. If you play these Pro Enhanced games, that the PSSR, the ray traced effects, the faster loading, you can benefit from the bigger hard drive and all the other things we spoke about earlier. So if you're going to sit on the fence for the PS6, then the 5 Pro may still be a absolutely viable option. But if you're going to get a day one PS6, like I am, no doubt about it, I'll be absolutely getting one, then would I buy a PS5 Pro today? That's tricky, because the trouble is, without experiencing it, you don't know how good it is. If I'd never seen one before, if I didn't know what it did and all the benefits it gave me, I probably would not, because I'd still be perfectly happy with my PS5 base models and all is good. But because I know how good it is, I know the benefits it gives me when playing those race games, how much better those games look, how sort of flat and just wrong they look now sometimes. When you go back to the base PS5 on certain games, then I probably still would buy a PS5 Pro today. But even then, that's related to how much disposable income you've got and things like that. So it's all like swings and roundabouts on that kind of thing. But for me, after a year, I love it. I wouldn't want to go back to a base PS5 exclusively. Sure, there's a whole bunch of games which work perfectly fine on the base PS5. Like I've got them there on my arcade rig, got them downstairs on my race rig. So it's like, I'm kind of happy with both. All I know is, when I've got the choice, and I have, because I've obviously got both base and PS5 Pro, I just gravitate towards the PS5 Pro every single time, and that's without fail. And that's not even me like thinking, oh, I've got a Pro, I must use it. It's just a natural thing. It just loads faster, it looks better, and all the other things which are nice about it just all gel into one really nice package for me. So for me, yes, I would still buy a PS5 Pro today, especially with the PS6 being, what, a couple of years away. I'm still going to buy one on day one, but I would still buy one today, basically because a lot of the games I play are Pro Enhanced. But as I mentioned earlier, if you don't play those Pro Enhanced games, or you've only got a very small library of games, then maybe it's not such a wise purchase after all, and stick to the still extremely capable PS5. But overall, I love my PS5 Pro, I really do. But there's a video. If you enjoyed it, it'd be really cool if you bash that like and subscribe button. It really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.